Hello, this is I'm Grady Crawford. This is just kind of like a review slash little thing I wanted to mention about European swords, stuff like that. This is the cold steel hand-and-a-half sword. It's probably my favourite sword, type of sword. I like katanas, but they're just doing some research and owning a few katanas and stuff. I find apparently throughout history they were quite delicate swords. They were made for flesh. They had a real thin edge. They were made for just slicing through flesh, and these swords were a lot thicker edge, and they were basically just like, they were meant for just battering. And some of the big great swords didn't used to be that sharp. The sharpness alone with swords isn't everything. It's the way the blade's designed and everything. So this is the cold steel hand-and-a-half sword. It's a very well balanced sword. I've done a few modifications to the sheath, just a sword belt wrapped around it, and just a piece of leather just wrapped around. Just give it some cool looking. I hate the swords. It's like a plain sheath. It's like, how are you going to wear that? How are you going to put that on your, how are you going to strap that to you? So one thing that I've noticed with the sword, I'll just take it up, is the length of the sword is very nice. I hate swords when you get them too long, and it's just like, this sword's so, probably the European swords, they're usually quite heavy, I find, especially hand-and-a-half swords. This is almost a two-handed sword. It's called a hand-and-a-half sword. But they're just so blade heavy. Same with katanas actually. Katanas are real blade heavy. Simply that's why they're great cutters. And this has just got so much strength in it. Like, I've put this through hell, and it's just stood up. I've had it for about 4 years now, and it's just fucking awesome. It is a two-handed sword. I really like using one hand, and there's a little technique it was actually started off as a habit. I just started doing it, and I was like, why do I do that? And then I realized it actually makes sense. So when doing like a, step back a bit, when doing like a one-handed kind of cut, the problem with one hand is that if you do a one-handed cut, the follow through, because the blade takes your weight, it can be a bit overwhelming, and it takes your whole body, and it takes you a while to come back. So one thing I noticed I was doing just a little cut like that. With this hand, I was kind of checking my arm here as it comes through, and then as I was coming through, I was kind of always checking my arm here, and then I started just pushing my arm back. And what that does is, if I do a big full power cut without doing that, and then want to come back and do another cut, it takes a bit longer. But if I check my arm here and push, it's a little bit quicker. And also if I do the first one that's kind of like a not a powerful attack, but as a distraction or is set up for a counter, I can come here and then I can push real hard into a big power cut, and it's just a lot faster, and it's not a big like that. It's just and I just push. You can do it from any angle. If you're coming up, you can push down, coming down, check, push back up to the tree. But yeah, it's just one thing I noticed. Obviously it is good for two-handed cuts. A mate of mine, he's a real sword guy, and he saw me swinging this around. He said with two hands, and he said I was swinging it like a baseball bat, and that apparently with katanas as well, as when you come through the follow through, the blade should stay kind of straight like that, and I was kind of, as I was coming through, I was kind of turning it like that, almost like a tennis racket, I guess, or a golf club. And apparently it's bad, but I find that I just aim where I'm looking at, and I keep the blade straight up to that cut, and then after I made the cut, and I turn it like that, it doesn't really matter. I find, as long as you're comfortable doing that and you consistently make the cut. Yeah, I really like that cheek thing. I think people should, that are into swords, I'm not like a aficionado or whatever it's called. I just like cutting shit. But yeah, I don't know, try it out. If you're into sword fighting and you're a master at sword fighting, maybe you've already discovered that, but give it a go. I mean, it definitely helps. But yeah, it's a great sword. Definitely get it. Definitely try it. If you're thinking about getting the Italian longsword, get this instead. It's got way more cutting power than that, and almost the same piercing power. This thing can stab like anything. But yeah, definitely go for this one. I mean, the Italian longsword is a bit longer, and that's why I stayed away from that one. And it's kind of similar length handle. This balance on the sword is just amazing. And there was some reviews ages ago about, there was some coming were a bit, this bit was a bit loose and stuff. That's all fine now. That was a few years ago. They've really, Cold Steel really sussed that out. I'm a huge Cold Steel fan. I pretty much have every little, not every sword, this is the only sword of theirs I own, but every other knife, things like that, that are legal in my country, New Zealand, which I own. But yeah, man, stay away from the katanas. I mean, I love katanas, they're awesome swords, but just be different. Just, I mean, everyone, especially white people, I'm not, like, they all, you know, Japanese, and they get Japanese tattoos and stuff, and like, I've actually got a Japanese tattoo, a samurai, but like, our ancestors, I mean, my ancestor was William Wallace. I'm Scottish, and my name's Crawford, and his mother was actually a Crawford. And yeah, man, they used the swords just like this, and they stood the test of time, and they're amazing. Katanas, I feel, have been kind of like you know, just made famous by movies and Hollywood and things like that. But go for these bastard swords. They're amazing, eh? And they cut like anything. Like, I reckon this cuts better than any katana I've ever had. Through bottles and stuff. Haven't cut through, you know, stuff. But also check it on YouTube. There's like a torture test Cold Steel do of the sword. And man, it can do some shit, eh? They split like 2x4s, and the stand that it's on, a wooden stand. What else is it? Bamboo, 100 cuts. They do hemp rope, 100 cuts. They do tatami. What else? Oh, they're like pigs and stuff. But this is an awesome sword, man. And it's fucking boss. Like, it's pretty gangster. So yeah, thanks for watching. The reason I did this video is because there's not many reviews of the sword, and I'm gonna get the dagger, trying to get the dagger, and then I'm gonna do a review on that because there's no videos on that bloody dagger. So I'm just gonna get it, and yeah, man. Cool. See you later.